I welcome you all on behalf of Avantis and Team Leads to this webinar. My name is Rishi Agrawal. I'm your host for the day today. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Avantis, which is a Team Leads company. And today we are going to talk about one of the very important topics from a compliance perspective in India, something that we all face on a day-to-day basis. And the topic today is Indian employers must evaluate 8 changes every day to 58,000 compliances. How? I'm sure all of you would agree with me when I say that India has a highly fluid regulatory environment. The law of the land changes quite frequently. And for any business which is multi-business, multi-location, multi-entity sort of an organization with a broad geographical footprint, this creates a huge complexity and challenge. Today, we are going to talk about how to deal with this challenge. What are the tools available at your disposal? How can you stay on top of your compliance updates? That's really the topic here. Let me start with a quote which is very close to my heart. As an organization, we talk to a few thousand companies in India every year. And one of the key themes that comes out very often is the senior executives often create ignorance as an alibi, where ignorance of the law of the land is not an excuse for non-compliance. As practitioners, this is something that we should all remember, that if we are not aware, that does not create an excuse for non-compliance. Sins of omission, which is missed compliances, sins of commission, which is incorrect compliances, both have the same penalties. And it's very important to not use ignorance of the law as an excuse for non-compliance. We are going to talk about how we can solve the ignorance problem today in this webinar. Let's all come to a common ground on the fact that managing compliances in India is complex. Let's see how. We'll start with some of the key challenges in compliance management in India and then drill down to regulatory updates. So let's look at the first challenge, Companies Act of 2013. April 1, 2014 is when Companies Act of 2013 became active, became live. For the first time in the history of independent India, criminal proceedings and jail term were brought in for non-compliance. And this is when the chalta hai, hota hai, dekh lenge culture doesn't work anymore. There are penal provisions for serious non-compliances. Believe it or not, out of 58,000 compliances that we have in India today, over 8,682 compliances have provisions for criminal proceedings and jail term going from 3 months to about 10 years worth of imprisonment. So the cost of poor compliance has gone up quite dramatically. The CXOs, the KMPs are far more accountable than they were in the past. There are multiple, ways in which you have to provide compliance certificates in the course of a year, and all of this requires you to stay on top of your compliance program. The second major item that we all face today is compliance management in India is complex. There are too many acts, too many compliances, too many filings, too many returns registers and challans, and it's literally impossible for a team of 1 or 2 people, A, to know about all of these, to know the applicability, B, to stay on top of all the changes, C, to track the life cycle of all of these and know exactly what you are accountable for, what got done, what is still pending, and so on. So that's another huge challenge that we all face in India today. The third challenge that we are going to drill down in detail today is the fluid regulatory environment. The law of the land changes very often. There are about 8 approximate changes per day. In the year 2019, there were over 3,000 regulatory changes, and we'll talk about that in greater detail. And for any business which has a broad geographical footprint, central, state, and local laws, when they change, it changes your compliance liability, it changes the way, the frequency, the penalties, the interest, the forms, and so on. And it's important to know when these changes occur and then to make corresponding amendments to the way you're doing them so that the sins of commission can actually be taken care of. So this is an area where we are going to drill down today. The fourth key area here is highly manual, ad hoc, paper-based, and people-dependent compliance program. where while the world has moved on to 21st century, we're all using sophisticated technology tools for managing most of our business processes. Our poor compliance head still struggles with ad hoc, paper-based, people-dependent kind of compliance programs. If you look at how a compliance officer spends time during a typical day, they are constantly firefighting, they're constantly managing and juggling various priorities, they're dealing with notices which have increased in numbers over the last few years. They're constantly trying to figure out where the paperwork is, where all these returns registers and challans are kept, which licenses have expired, which we have forgotten to apply for. This is a typical life, a day in the life of a compliance manager. We'll do another webinar on how this can be handled, but this is one of the key challenges that a compliance officer deals with. Last but not the least on the slide is increased regulatory scrutiny. Believe it or not, the number of notices that our customers and prospects are receiving in a unit time has gone up quite sharply. Government has gone digital. There are greater systems in place to identify non-compliances, missed filings. There are automatic notices getting generated. And this is putting additional burden of compliance and tracking and management and staying on top and being in control on our compliance heads. So those are some of the critical compliance challenges, the way we see it in India. Before we move further, let's set some of these items. When we talk about compliances, what do we mean? So we talk about the law of the land. Any act, any section, any compliance, any type of compliance, any category of compliance. And just to set the ground here, I've just taken some illustrative examples as to what I mean when I say compliance. So you're familiar with some of these words: licenses, registrations, permissions, consent orders, returns, registers, challans, displays, payments, remittances, renewals, notices, exemptions. These are all examples of compliance. By no means is this a full list, but hopefully this does give you an example or an idea of what I mean when I say compliances. So these are examples of various compliances that you're doing. As the size of your organization increases, as the organization becomes multi-locational, the number, the type, the complexity of these compliances also changes quite dramatically. And when we talk about changes to regulatory environment, they will change your obligations on one or more of these items. And that's why it's important to stay on top of these. Let's move on to the next slide here. And this kind of helps you lay the foundation of the compliance environment and ecosystem in India. When we talk compliances, we look at it at three levels. So when we talk updates, we look at them at three levels: central, state, and local. There are regulations which are on the union list. There are areas which are on the state list. There are areas which are on the concurrent list of the constitution. They are legislated by the corresponding governments, but there are quite a lot of variations when it goes from one state to another. So just as an example, the state of Karnataka has over 900 minimum wages permutations and combinations, and so do a number of other states. There are 4 different skill levels, 3 different zones, 72 different job types, and that leads to so many permutations and combinations. The dates may be different, the form types may be different, and hence the compliance obligation as you move from one state to another also changes quite dramatically. So it's important to know central, state, and local. So we look at compliances at those 3 levels. We classify them into 7 broad categories, and I will shed some more light on this subject in my subsequent slide. But these are labor, which deals with all your labor laws, right from central and state laws, deals with registers, returns, and challans. Then finance and taxation, which deals with all your direct tax, indirect tax, customs, FERA, FEMA, and so on. All of those are clubbed broadly under the category of finance and taxation. Commercial, which deals with all your equipment, whether you have a manufacturing plant. I'm sure you're familiar with hoists, lifts, cranes. You may be dealing with boilers, which is pressure vessels, tools, tackles, gas holders, weighing equipment, legal metrology, Bureau of Indian Standards, Electricity Act. All of those are examples of commercial category of compliances. The next is environment, health, and safety, which deals with all your EHS, as it is popularly known as category of compliances, which is Environment Protection Act of 1986, solid waste management, hazardous waste management, consent orders, maintenance of various records, Explosive Act, e-waste management. All of these are examples of compliances under EHS. Then comes secretarial, which deals with all your secretarial compliances related to MCA, which is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, SEBI, NSE, BSE, typically managed by a company secretary. Then you have industry specific as a category, which deals with all the industry specific compliances, as the name suggests. So if you are an insurance company, then you're dealing with IRDAI. If you're a food processing company, you're familiar with FSSAIA. If you're a telecom company, you're dealing with TRI. All of these are examples of regulators which regulate companies operating in specific industries, and additional compliances are applicable to them, and those are all broadly classified under industry specific. And then last but not the least, anything that's not categorizable in the rest of them, we have taken the liberty of categorize them under general. So these are the 7 categories. The updates that come in also fall into these 7 broad categories. In addition, we are dealing with 3 types of compliances: time-based, event-based, and checklisted. Time-based, as the name suggests, has a frequency. It could be one time, it could be monthly, quarterly, half-yearly, annually. These are all examples of frequencies in time-based compliances. Then you have event-based compliances, which get triggered when an event is activated. We look at events in 2 broad categories: secretarial events and non-secretarial events. Secretarial events are all appointments, board meetings, AGMs, resignations. All of these are examples of secretarial events. Every time you trigger an event, you activate an event, there are a whole bunch of compliances which become due before the date of the event, like sending minutes of the previous meetings, agenda for this board meeting, and so on and so forth. There are compliances on the day of the event, and then there are compliances after the day of the event, and all of these get triggered automatically based on templatized agendas. Non-secretarial events are events like fire in the factory, death of an employee. Fire could be a result of an electrical fire, chemical fire, petroleum fire. Death of an employee, if that unfortunate event has happened, the employee could have been someone who earns less than a particular threshold, or someone who can earn more than a particular threshold. Based on these various parameters of information, the regulatory notification triggers, and an organization is responsible for notifying based on certain parameters that I just spoke to you about. Those are all event triggered compliances. And checklisted are those which basically need to be done on an ongoing basis. These are maintenance of various kinds of registers, display compliances. All of those don't have a start date, they don't have an end date, they need to be done 24/7, 365, not on a specific day of the month, and so on. So that's broadly the compliance universe that we at Avantis talk about, and all the regulatory updates that we will discuss in the rest of our discussion today will be classified into these broad categories. So with that, let me move forward. I promised to you in the previous slide that we will quickly look at 7 categories. And these are those 7 categories: labor, finance and taxation, commercial, EHS, industry specific, and general. And you can see that we have plotted the number of acts, compliances, and filings in each one of those categories. Out of close to 58,000 compliances that are there as a part of law of the land in India, almost 416 acts and 1,400 filings, leading to about 27,000 odd compliances, are labor alone. So, I mean, this is just for your reference. Where we want to drill down today is really this area, which is India has a highly fluid regulatory environment. We spoke about over 1,100 acts, 58,000 compliances, and 3,000 filings. There were 3,000 changes last year. To be precise, there were 3,063 changes last year to this law of the land. Now, chances are, if you are a multi-business, multi-locational, multi-entity organization operating in different parts of the country, whether you have plants, whether you have offices, regional offices, zonal offices, head office, warehouses, chances are a number of these changes are affecting you on a day-to-day basis. And we will drill down on what these changes are, what do they look like, how do we gather them, how do we make sure that they are available to you when you need them. So in 2019 alone, we had 3,063 changes. In the last 90 days, which is in the last 1 quarter, there have been more than 1,000 changes, 1,109 to be precise. In the last 30 days, which is last 1 month alone, there have been 407 changes. And during the COVID period, which started on 25th March 2020, we have seen a number of regulatory changes. Believe it or not, today there are 550 odd changes, regulatory changes, which are just attributable back to COVID. Chances are a lot of these changes are applicable to you. You need to get the information on these changes in a timely manner. B, you need to understand the impact of these changes. And C, you need to take a corrective measure in your organization so that you can manage the life cycle of all these changes. So with that, let me move to the next slide here. How do we gather these changes? Where are these changes published? What are the challenges here? Let's talk about that. So one thing that we need to understand is, where are these changes published? And this slide actually helps you to understand where are these changes published. If you see this slide, we are talking about an overall number of 2,233 websites where these changes are published all over the country. They are divided into central, state, and local. As you can see, out of 2,233 websites, 413 websites are from the union government, 1,240 websites are from the state government and union territories, various departments, ministries, and so on. There are 556 city and municipal corporations website that we monitor. Now, what is the problem here? You can see the number of websites are such a large number. There is really no way you are going to be able to personally monitor them all. Second, there is no subscription-based facility that these websites have. So even if a change happens, there is no way you are ever going to know that a change has happened until you go and personally look at that website. Now, if you're a company operating in 4 or 5 different states, then chances are at least 100 to 200 such websites are relevant to you. And there is no way you are going to be able to monitor these 100 to 200 websites every day. What are the implications of these? The implications are, you are going to miss critical updates. And if you miss them, chances are you will stay non-compliant. So that is where we have put together this whole infrastructure for you, so that we monitor these 2,233 websites every day, and we make sure that these updates are categorized, monitored, captured, analyzed, and sent to you in a national, comprehensive, personalized, and real-time manner. Now let's look at how. So when we talk about changes, what do we see? Changes can broadly be classified into these categories. A change may result in change of date. So something that was supposed to be done at a particular date and time, that date has changed. Sometimes that date change is temporary, sometimes that date change is permanent. So that's one change, which is change of date. Change of frequency. Sometimes a compliance was required to be done quarterly and the frequency has changed to half yearly. Sometimes it can change to monthly. So frequency can change, and when the frequency changes, your compliance obligation will also change. This is one of the second types of changes. Third, change of penalty and change of interest calculation. So when you are in non-compliance, there are specific calculations based on which financially you need to pay penalties. You need to pay interest based on delay. The penalties can be fixed or penalties can be variable. Variable penalty would mean it is calculable based on the number of days of delay. So if you have delayed by X number of days, there is a daily penalty requirement which has to be multiplied by X number of days. There is a max, there is a min, there are variables. All of these are examples of interest and penalty calculations. For different compliances, these numbers can change, and one needs to be aware of what the latest calculation is so that you can comply. The next item here is addition of a new compliance item or reduction in your compliance item. That means a compliance has been added under a given act. You need to now maintain maybe another register, or you need to do certain things that were not required to be done before, an addition of a compliance. What is reduction of a compliance? Something that you were doing earlier that has now been removed or rescinded or not being necessitated. So it's important for you to know what was required of you and what is a change, so that you can stop doing that particular compliance. Revision to forms. I'm sure you're all very familiar. There are so many forms that are available in which you need to comply, right from making an application for renewal of a license, right, to maintaining returns registers and so on. All of these are examples where a sample form or a form in which you were doing a compliance now has undergone a change. Next change that can happen is change to duty structure, change to rates, and all of these affect your compliance obligation. Maybe the GST rate for a given item may have changed. Maybe the duty structure on customs may have changed. These are all examples of the nature of changes that can happen. In essence, these are some illustrative examples of what has been changing and what these 3000 updates lead to. And if you don't know about these updates, then chances are you will be out of compliance. So now let's look at what do we capture when we talk about updates. So as you can see, there are many parameters that we capture. We have literally digitized the entire compliance management database of India. We have a team of 55 lawyers who manage this database, which has over 1100 acts, over 58,000 compliances, leading to about 33,100 filings, which changes 3,000 times a year. And that's managed by this team of experts of 55 lawyers. They're broken down into various sub-teams. They have specializations. And when we scan these 2,233 websites around central, state, and local governments, here is what we capture. So first, we capture the compliance category. What change has happened to which category, which act. Second, we are able to tag it by act. So when changes happen, we know exactly what is the nature of the change, and that change is filterable by, sortable by, searchable by act. It is searchable by date. So as and when the change may have been published, typically within 24 hours of the release of change, we are able to capture it, we are able to analyze it, publish it on our website, and I'm going to walk you through that. We capture the date. Then we are able to tag a change to central or state, because changes can happen at both levels. So we are able to tag it to central or state. Then we are able to tag it to ministry, which department has made that change, what industry or industries are impacted as a result of the change. And to top it all, we also publish the update circular, gazette, ordinance, notification, or whatever else they call it by the respective department. We capture that so that you do not have to rely on some industry body, some group of chartered accountants or company secretaries sending you these notifications on WhatsApp. Imagine a scenario where you're running your business, responsible for a number of factories, number of offices, number of branches, headquarters, and thousands of crores in revenue, and you're relying on these WhatsApp-based alerts, WhatsApp-based documents and reminders for specific changes. While that can work in some instances, but that's not the scalable way of doing business. And that's where some of the tools that we have developed on staying on top of these compliance updates come in. Now, this is a slide that I often present just to make sure that we talk about the compliance burden. In context of today's conversation also, this is an important slide. As you can see, for a large organization, there are close to 10,000 compliances that they are responsible for. And if you have 10,000 compliances, chances are that at least 1,000 legal updates in the country during a typical year may affect you in general. And that's where it's important to stay on top of these. And you cannot undermine, I cannot overemphasize the importance of this. Now, let's take a break here. I would want to now get into the specific items and walk you through what are the tools that are available to you so that you can manage your compliance. So let's first talk about our website. I hope you are able to see our website. It is at avantis.co.in or teamleasecompliance.com. You can use either URL and you will come to the same website. If you see the homepage of our website, it is India's only portal today which publishes real-time national comprehensive updates free of cost, completely digitized on the portal. So let's look at it. If you see at the top right here, latest compliance updates in India, we have given you some tags for easy search and sort. As you can see, if you wanted to see only central government updates, if you just click central here, you will actually be taken to the details where out of thousands of updates that we have on our website, you're now seeing 3,227 updates under the central category. Now, again, this is further broken down. If you wanted to classify them by a specific category, you wanted to see only labor updates in central, just click on labor. And as you can see, there are further subclassification of these updates, and you are now seeing a lower number of updates. If you wanted to see more than one, go ahead and select these categories, and correspondingly the data will change real time. As you can see, it's a card-based layout. You can go and select some other filters here like regulators, industries, date ranges. So you can choose today, yesterday, last few days, and so on and so forth, and sub-select some of these items. Now, when you click on any one of this, you will see that we are able to take you to the details of what has changed. As you can see, this is a update that we have captured as recently as today. It's June 9th. It is from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. There is a title to this update, and you see there are 3 tags here. First tag is the category of the update. We saw 7 categories today in the webinar. This is one of those categories which is secretarial. So it belongs to secretarial category. It's a central update. And if you wanted to see what act we are talking about, it's the Companies Act of 2013 and Companies Share Capital and Debentures Rules of 2014. So that's the act that we are referring to. What you see here is a synopsis. Our team of legal experts have already gone ahead, reviewed this change, converted this into a summary, and you are able to read that summary here. At the same time, you see the ministry, regulator, and the industries to which this is applicable right here. You can click on any of this and go to the next level of detail if you would like. But let me show you an interesting thing. Now you don't need to wait for a WhatsApp-based update to come to you. You can simply click here, and the corresponding gazette, notification, circular, whatever that has come, you will be able to see it integrated right here. What's more, we have already gone ahead and OCR'd it, which is optical character recognition. It has become Google-like searchable. Even if you were to go ahead and search for it, you will be able to get to this. Now let's go back to our dashboard or the home page by clicking on the logo here. Let's walk through how the home page has been laid out. You will see updates as and when they come here. Right here, you can look at any one of the updates, click on it, go to the next level, look at the update, read the summary, look at the category if you would like, just go click on the document and start seeing the document as the case might be. What else can you do here? Let's go down, look for some statistics and numbers. Now, if you see this, just yesterday there were 21 regulatory updates. This week there have been 109, this month there have been 408. This quarter, this is 1110, and by the way, this number changes dynamically because in today, as the day passes and as we get to the end of day, this number is likely to be between 10 to 20 updates, and as and when this number changes, some of the other numbers will also change. But the bottom line here, folks, is we are not talking about trivial numbers. Just this week there have been 109. If we want to see what those 109 are, you can click those 109. You can see these 109 right here, broken down by industry, regulator, central, state, category, COVID, and so on and so forth. If you just wanted to see these 109 for the week, you can just go, and it's a card layout, simple to navigate, simple to use. By the way, you can go create an account. It takes only a couple of minutes to create an account. It is a self sign-on. There is a register button. I have already signed in. That's why you're seeing signed in. But let me sign out for 1 second and show you how you can do it. So now I have signed out. There is a way for signing in if you already have an ID password. If you don't, you can simply go and create an account. It literally takes a couple of minutes for you to sign in and personalize this. Now assume that I have gone ahead and signed in. I am simply signing in using my current credentials. Let's see how it works. I will stay on the website because this is what we are talking about today, and this is a personalized view. Let's see, what have I put as my preferences. I go to my preferences, and as you can see, my preferences load up. I have given central plus some states. So there are some random states that I have selected for the purpose of this demo. If I want to add more state, I can simply go click on the drop down, add more of these states. I can add more categories based on my role and the kind of updates that I need to see. Right now I have kept labor and secretarial, but there is no reason why you couldn't do a select all, save preferences. If there are specific regulators that I want to track, I can simply use the regulator section here. If there are industries that I am interested in, I can simply add or remove the industries. There are over 40 industries which are there as a part of the drop down. If there are specific keywords that you want to track, you can specify those keywords here, and you can decide to get this free newsletter daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, based on these preferences, automatically a few hundred acts will be added to your watch list, and this watch list will be curated for you. Every morning, if you've chosen a daily update, this kind of an email will come to you, and you can see all the updates for the day. So as you can see, this email got delivered to me this morning with some specific updates here based on my preferences, because I have decided to take some states, some regulators, some union territories, and based on what you decide to get, the details will be here. If you click on any one of these, you will be able to load a newsletter like this. It's a digital newsletter, as you can see, and all the items that were there as a part of your newsletter are available to you in the carousel here. You can simply keep clicking here and get to the lower level detail. If you are interested in seeing the regulatory update, just click on it and that update will be there. The circular or the notification or gazette can be viewed in a couple of seconds. So in addition to this, we also have PDF formats of the newsletters that go out. So let me first start with the labor newsletter, which captures all the labor updates for the month of May. We are in the first week of June, and this update, this newsletter has just gone out to our customers who have subscribed to labor updates only. And as you can see, there is a table of contents right here. We classify these updates into the central, followed by the state, and there are tens of updates in the month of May which have gone to our customers, and whoever has taken the paid service from us, they even get customizations down to a user and an act level, so that you can get a more custom list as compared to a laundry list. But bottom line is, this is a document that you can use as a master. You should sign up for these newsletters. You will start getting them in your mailbox. This is a monthly newsletter that I'm showing you, but there are daily and weekly as well, which can be delivered to your mailbox in digital format, which you can start using. So this is an example of a monthly labor focused newsletter. Let me show you another one, which is a COVID focused newsletter. As you can see, this is a 405 page compilation that I'm showing you. It has 537 COVID related updates, and if you see this, this is one compilation that you can't get anywhere else in the country. We have compiled all the updates, broken them down by categories, sorted them by dates and timelines, and all you need to do is have a copy of this newsletter by you. Anything that you want to search can easily be searched. This is just a table of contents, folks. Imagine how many updates are coming every day, and we have classified it for you so that in a minute you can get to the right update that you're looking for. And not only are you able to get the synopsis of this, with a click of the button, if you see there is a view document right here, with a click of the button, we will be able to take you to the corresponding notification document as well, so that you don't have to rely on industry bodies sharing these documents to you. So that's how you can start using the website, and you can start using some of these legal updates newsletter. Let's go back to where we started from. So here is more detail, and as you can see, you can keep clicking it and it will keep loading more legal updates. Now, if you wanted to see only labor updates, there are tags here. You can simply click labor and you will be able to get to labor right here. As you can see, there are over 1,000 updates in labor. You wanted to do only central, just click on the central and you will see there is a shorter list of these updates. You wanted to see COVID updates. We have created a specific section on the website. As you can see, there are COVID updates right here. There are over 550, in fact, it's 550 exact COVID updates as of date. They've been captured from the date this COVID thing started, which is 25th of March, and till date there are 550 updates. If you wanted to just see what are the labor updates from COVID, here is a simple list of all the labor updates from COVID. You wanted to see what are central labor updates for COVID. All you have to do is keep clicking and automatically the data will keep filtering. Now, if you have created an account here, free account, you will also be able to bookmark some of these items for future viewing. As you can see, I'm simply bookmarking some of these items so that I don't have to spend any more time looking at this or searching for this in the future. And as you see on the right side, these bookmarks are being saved. As in, when I'm clicking these bookmarks are getting saved. I can simply click on the bookmarks and whatever I have bookmarked will be visible right here. I can also see what are my recent views, whatever I have bookmarked, and these bookmarks stay for good. So, even after 2 months, if you have to go and look at a bookmarked item, you can simply go do that. As you can see, I'm adding more and more here, and more bookmarks are getting added. So please go ahead, when you get a chance, go ahead, make an account for yourself here and start using it. PDF based, digital based newsletters will start coming to your mailbox, and you can start your compliance journey, start experiencing the power of technology in moments, and stay on top of your compliance update. So that's one big resource that we have created for all of you. Just to reiterate, it's a free resource. There is no charge for this. You can go ahead, personalize your experience just like what we had discussed earlier. Here is the way it's personalized. Select central and any of the 29 one or more states, union territories, industries, keywords, regulators, and so on and so forth, and select if you would like to get these updates daily, weekly, or monthly. So I do hope that this is an important resource for you. Now let's go to mobile app. We all know the power of mobile apps now. We carry mobile app mobiles literally 24 hours a day, and most of us either are on Android or on iOS. So what have we done? We also understand that anything available on mobile app gets utilized better, and customers can stay on top of their updates without having to spend any time going into portals and so on and so forth. So what you see here on the web portal, we have converted this into a very easy to use mobile app. Let me show you where you can find it, how you can download it, how you can get some help on it, and how you can start your journey in a matter of minutes. So I assume that we are continuing to be on our website. You can go to product section here. As you can see, I have just brought my mouse here. There is something called rules book, fifth from the top drop down. When I click on rules book, you will see that I have gone to a rules book app page. This is our app on iOS as well as Android. So when you go to your Play Store or your App Store and you type rules book with a Z in between. So the spelling here is RULEZBOOK. When you type rules book, you will see the app and you can go ahead and download it. And I'm just scrolling down, folks. There is a user manual right here. So you can simply click this user manual. This is the manual that will load up, and it will easily guide you on how to get onboarded, how to download it and get onboarded. I will use this today in the next couple of minutes to show you how to do it, but there is also a video available on the website. So if you see, there is a video right here, and please go ahead. It's a 3-minute video. Please go ahead and use this video. It will show you where to download it from, what screens to expect, how to register using your mobile number, what inputs to put in, and in a couple of minutes you can actually do your self onboarding. So it's just a 3-minute video. In 3 minutes it does guide you through all the features, capabilities, and functionalities. Please look at this video at your convenience, but let me just guide you here using my PDF today. So as you can see, this is a rules book app. I hope you have noted the spelling. It is RULEZBOOK, and here is the icon, very easily recognizable on App Store and Play Store. When you download the app, you will see register using phone number. All you need to do is put in your phone number, and it will. You can even use your Facebook or Google credentials. But if you want to use your phone number, it will deliver an OTP on your phone number. As you can see here, just enter your OTP, and there are just 3 more items: first name, last name, and email that you can put in and enter. So the moment first name, last name, and email is provided, the app takes you to the personalization screen, because the most important thing is not to find a needle in the haystack. And that's where, instead of looking at 58,000 compliance and 3,000 updates in a year, it's important to personalize it for your benefit. How do we personalize? There are 3 steps to personalization. The first step is to choose whether you want central or central and states. Here it's a couple of taps. If you select states also, it will give you the list of states. As you can see, on the 1 or more selections can be done. You can also do select all if you are interested in knowing the updates of all the states. So there is a select all function facility here, or you can do 1 or more selections right here. So now what you have done is you've said, I need central and I need these states to go with it. So that's the first step over. As you can see, it literally takes a few seconds. Now we move on to step 2. Step 2 is where you select the industries that you're interested in. Why industry is important is because there are industry-specific compliances. So if you were a pharmaceutical company, Drug and Cosmetic Act is applicable to you. If you are, and so on and so forth. So there are many specific regulators and hundreds of specific acts which are only applicable to specific industry types. And if you are from a particular industry, you would want to stay on top of those compliances which are industry specific. Here is where we give you an opportunity to select your industry. Step 2 is over. What is step 3? Step 3 is to select what are the categories of compliances that you are interested in. We spoke about the categories earlier, and this is that list. You can select one or more categories here based on your role. So for example, if you're a company secretary and you're only interested in knowing secretarial compliances, all you do is select secretarial. But if you're a company secretary and responsible for the overall compliance role in the company, chances are you would want to know all the updates that are coming in which case you can go ahead and select all the 6. Now, this is a simple way you can select all of the categories, but once you've created, this is where the 3-step process is over. We have curated a list of all the applicable acts which meet your criteria, and we have added them to your watch list. Now let's see. The moment you do that, here is a kind of screen that comes in. You can start seeing all the updates as and when they're flowing in. Just like we spoke about a bookmark icon, you can see that it's a card layout. Every one of these updates is in a card format. There is a title of the update, just like what we saw on the website. There is a date on which that update came in. There is a category that that update belongs to, and whether it is a central or state update. There is a couple of lines here so that you can see whether it is relevant to you or not. And upon click, you can go to the next level. When you click on the next level, here is what you see. This is the title, this is the category and type. And guess what? We also provide you which act does this update belong to. When you click on the act, we also give you a list of compliances that you can view. So this is the synopsis. And as you scroll further, so by the way, if you clicked on the act, here is a listing of compliances. If you clicked on a given compliance, you will be able to see the lower level details as well. Then there is a section on acts. You can click on the acts that you are able to see based on your personalization. Here is a laundry list of those acts. Upon click, so under every act, you will see some compliances are there. You can click on those compliances and you can view the detail. Now, as you can see, we have really simplified it to a level where you are able to drill down from an update to a corresponding act, to all the compliances there, to bookmark it, to click on a specific category, apply filters. Let us see how you can apply a filter. So if you click on any one of those compliances, here are the details. It's a section 72 description, reference material, and click on any compliance item to view the details further. You want to add any specific act to your watch list, you can go add a specific act to the watch list. There are a simple, easy to search and sort. This is your search screen. At the bottom, you can see there is a search icon here. You can do a free text search, but if you want to do specific search, you can even do a category search or central or state search, and various kinds of searches will be available to you. There are filters like this, just like you can see an icon here. You can filter the details that you're seeing here by choosing one or more categories, one or more period and type, select the states, and the overall outcomes can be filtered even further. So as you can see, everything that we discussed on our website, which is teamleasecompliance.com or avantis.co.in, all the features we have built in Rulesbook as well. Every day we are adding more and more functionality. If you want to change your preferences, if you've just created yet another factory or yet another office, you can click on your preferences and change those preferences. So it is showing you your current preferences of locations, industry, and category, and you can just go ahead and change these preferences if you would like. So my request is to give it a chance. Go to App Store or Play Store, depending on whether you are on iOS or Android, and go ahead, download the app, try it out. It takes 2 minutes to 3 minutes to completely onboard yourself and staying on top of all the compliance updates that your organization is responsible for. So those are the 2 tools that we provide today. One, our website, where you can come, browse, search, sort. You can sign yourself up for a newsletter, PDF-based or digital newsletter, can come to your direct mailbox every morning, which is a daily or a weekly or a compiled monthly, or you can use our app, which is Rulesbook, which stays on your mobile phone and keeps giving you notifications based on preferences that you have selected. All of these resources are available to you free of cost, and we are hoping that this is going to help you reduce your compliance burden by helping you stay on top of all the changes that are relevant to your business and your day-to-day work. So folks, that's what I wanted to kind of show to you today. I hope that both of these resources are helpful to you, and please reach out to us. We would love to hear your feedback once you start using it. If there are other things that we can do to enrich your experiences, we'll be more than happy to do. So let me take a pause here and open up for Q&A. We are at 3:47 at this point in time, and I would want to take some questions from all of you. Let's get started on Q&A. Do you cover municipal local laws of respective states? The answer is absolutely yes. As I said, we monitor over 500 different municipal corporations and municipalities. Anything that's available digitally in the country today, chances are we are monitoring it. Municipal laws are covered in our 2,233 websites, which I was showing you in one of the earlier slides. So hopefully that answers your question. Someone has asked a question that they would like to see a dashboard, of our compliance product, Avacom. Certainly, I can give you a copy of the dashboard. Let me just show you here how the product looks. So I hope you can see my screen. You can, once you become a client of ours, you can simply, once you log in, you can go to client portal. And these updates that I just showed to you, national, real-time, comprehensive, and personalized, are also available to you on your dashboard. So as you can see, I am in the dashboard now. And you can see this is how our dashboard looks like, so that it can help you stay on top of all your compliances. On the left side, it's very simple to navigate dashboard, reports, documents. Here is a chat button, which allows you to chat with our team of lawyers in the backend. Here is where you can see summary of all the overdue compliances. This is where there is a graphical view of the statuses in not completed, completed after the due date, and completed in time. And you can just click. It is going to classify it by risk, and you can further click and it will load up a detail with a lot of search, sort, and filter options, and you can just filter data with strong analytics right here. So as you can see, a lot of these rich views, search, sort, filters are available. This is our management dashboard that a customer gets when they sign up for tracking and management of all their compliances across the law of the land. Hopefully it answers your question. There is a question for some schemes in West Bengal. Jitendra, thank you for asking that. Are there similar schemes in place for other states? That's a very specific question, Jitendra. I'll be happy for someone from our legal team to get in touch with you and answer that. But yes, I mean, we can provide some help on that subject as well. There's a question from Himanshu. Understand the trigger points of conditional compliances. Great question, Himanshu. Conditional compliances we classify under the category of event-based compliances. If you recall, among the first couple of slides, I had spoken about three types of compliances: time-based, event-based, and checklisted. Time-based was very clear, based on a time frequency. Event-based get triggered when an event is activated. Now, when you have to deal with an event, you will have to go into the system. You would have already mapped that event which is applicable to your business. All you have to do is activate that event. So if you're a private limited company, we would have mapped various MCA events to you as a private limited company. When you plan to hold your board meeting, you will go into the software and activate that event with a given date. So imagine you want to do your board meeting on 30th of the month. You will go into the software and activate that event for 30th. Automatically, the system will take that as the date of the event and will calculate compliance obligations before the day of the event, on the day of the event, and after the day of the event. And automatically, it will compute timelines for all the other compliances. So if you are supposed to send the minutes of previous meeting and the agenda for the upcoming meeting to all the board members X number of days before the day of the event based on your activation, we would have gone ahead, identified it, calculated it, and automatically assigned that as a compliance line item to all the people. That's how, Jitendra, this event-based compliances are managed. I hope it answers your question, but we'll be happy to do a more detailed discussion and demo with you if you need. Ajay, thank you for your compliments. I really appreciate your feedback. I'm glad this session was useful. We have a question from Vinayak, how commercials work for becoming a client. Vinayak, thank you for asking that question. As you would appreciate, I will need to know a little more detail about you and your business, entities, locations, functions, the complexity of compliance, your spread in different states, and we will be happy to work out a commercial proposal for you. But just to let you know, our vision is to help India comply without drilling a hole in their pocket. So our commercials are extremely competitive. In most of the cases, they are lower than the salary of a junior company secretary that you would hire to try and manage the life cycle of some of these compliances. So rest assured that our commercials are going to be extremely compelling and competitive. They will not drill a hole in your pocket, but I will need to understand lower level detail on your scope before I can answer that question on commercials. But thank you for asking that question. Is there a repository of all the events to understand that it should be activated? Himanshu, thank you for asking that question. Yes, there is a very comprehensive repository. That repository, Himanshu, is broken down into two kinds of events, as I mentioned earlier. There are secretarial events, which are MCA, SEBI kind of events, and there are non-secretarial events. Non-secretarial events are things like fire in the factory, death of an employee, all of these are examples of non-secretarial events, change of office address, change of factory manager, because these are all events which have a compliance implication. So if you are changing your office, I'm sure you may have experienced it before. There are a whole bunch of compliances that become due. You need to change your address in MCA, SEBI, PF, ESI, GST, income tax. There's so many different places where you need to change your address. Now, if you're moving in the same building or in the same locality, then it's one thing. But if you're moving it into a different city or a different jurisdiction, you may have to surrender your Shop Act in one location, apply for Shop Act in another location. All of these are examples of non-secretarial events which have compliance implications, and all of these have been templatized by us. And the moment you activate a given event, all the compliances automatically will get activated and assigned to the right people in your organization, whoever has been configured for all of that. The whole idea, Himanshu, is to apply the power of cloud analytics, mobile, flexible workflows, integrated document management systems, integrated notifications, reminders, and alerting engines, so that you, as a compliance officer, spend far more time in bringing value to the business based on your expertise, rather than running around like a headless chicken behind people, using your phone, using your emails, constantly chasing people, finding documents like a clerk. And that's where the technology helps to move you from low-end, repeated, mundane, boring kind of activities, where you let the technology manage all of that and move your activity, your value addition, to higher level activities, so that you can plan, you can manage, you can strategize, and take your organization's compliance program and its maturity to the next higher level. I hope this is going to be helpful. I have a question from my dear friend Manjay. Manjay is asking a question: what are the new areas that you intend to add in the existing product portfolio? Manjay, thank you so much for asking that question. We have recently launched a labor product which helps you create all the returns, registers, and challans automatically. So we are not only helping companies track and manage the life cycle of all their compliances, Manjay, we are also helping them now process their data and create regulatory records. So from payroll data and from some other files, you can literally upload these files into the system in 5 minutes and create all the returns, registers, and challans automatically from the system. So now we have taken the whole compliance management to the next higher level. Not only we are helping you track and manage, we are also helping you process data from your payroll. So there are 4 kinds of compliances, Manjay: payroll compliances, shops and establishment compliances, factory compliances, and CLRA compliances. And today our product is capable of helping you create over 1,000 different formats of registers, over 287 different formats of returns across all the labor acts in the country, so that within few moments you can literally create all these registers and stop paying a lot of money to low-end, low-tech labor consultants who basically are liaising officers and do not have the right technology platforms to provide the transparency, the accountability, and protect your information. Now, I'm sure all of you know that the Data Privacy Act has just become live, and there is greater onus on organization to protect the privacy of their employees' data. And all of those are important in making sure you have access to these products, where on emails you don't end up sharing data which is highly confidential. You have greater control over your compliance. With the upload of some data in 5 minutes, you can generate all the returns, registers, and challans. Manjay, in addition to labor compliances, we are now going to launch secretarial product also, which is going to help you manage the entire business process of all secretarial, not only compliances, but managing your board meetings, sending your agendas, managing the resolutions, creating automated documents from the templates. All of these will automatically now start getting created. We are launching the product by the end of this month. If you would like to try it out, I welcome you to our beta. But that's an area where not only for labor, we are going to be doing the exact identical thing for secretarial compliances as well. So our objective is not only to help organizations move from an ad hoc, manual, paper-based, and people-dependent compliance program, but also to help them process this data, automatically create regulatory record, so that all the mundane, routine, and repeatable activities can be automated using software. So Manjay, thank you so much for asking that question. I really appreciate it. And I welcome you to become a part of our trial and try these two products out and start experiencing the joy of going digital from physical, and start spending more time in strategizing, planning, and managing, rather than chasing people in an ad hoc manner. So with that, I think we are at 3:59. We are at the end of our time for today. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. I really appreciate you joining us on this webinar today. Hopefully the two tools that we spoke about, Avantis.co.in or teamleadscompliance.com and Rulesbook, are going to help you get greater control of your compliance program. Until next time, I'm doing another webinar on digitizing labor compliances on the 12th of this month at 3 p.m. I invite you all to participate in that and see how you can literally transform and digitize your labor compliances with our Avacom labor product. So until then, thanks again. Have a good one. See you until next time.